Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Daniel here, and welcome back to my continuing deep dive discussion on Shadows of Brimstone. And today we're going to continue to look at some of the stuff that comes in the core sets with a focus on the map tiles. So this is a game that has large piles of map tiles, and it can be a little overwhelming. I don't think it's quite as bad as something like Mansions of Madness, but it is manageable, especially if you play the way I play the game. And I've talked about it before, and I will continue to talk about it throughout this entire series. But the way I usually play, or always play now, Shadows of Brimstone, and the way I recommend people play when you start to get a lot of stuff, is to create subsets of the things that you own to play with for a certain amount of time. And so usually what I'll do is I will pick one core set, and that'll be like my main kind of theme, my main kind of setting. So let's say I was to pick the City of Ancients. And so you would have this tile set here, which all the tile sets are double-sided. So then you also have a set of mine tiles. And then I pick one other tile set to play with. So that could be another core set like Forbidden Fortress or Swamps of Death, or it could be one of the other world expansions. And then you only have to deal with 2 different tile sets, but that gives you 4 different environments to explore. And then I take a subset of like the enemy cards. I'll create my own thematic set of enemies to encounter, and I'll create a subset of gear, and just basically create subsets of all of the cards so that it's manageable. It all fits on one table, and I'm not constantly having to dig things in and out of other boxes and that kind of. So that is how I enjoy playing Shadows of Brimstone the most. That's how I have the most fun playing it, because it keeps things manageable, and I like putting together like themed enemy encounters and that kind of stuff. But anyways, let's take a look at the maps here. So the map art, the tiles, has really, I think, just continued to improve since the original 2 core sets. The map tiles in the original core sets are not bad, but as you'll see throughout this series, the map art gets increasingly more interesting. So the core sets for the swamp, you're going to have a set of map cards for the mine. All adventures, unless stated otherwise, will start off in either the mine. If you are in the Western sets, if you are in the Forbidden Fortress, they will actually start off in the Forbidden Fortress. They will start off in kind of like the real world, and then you will find a portal into the other world. Basically, that's not always true, but kind of think of it like that. So you'll get a set of map cards for the mines, and then you will also get a set of map cards for the swamps when you go into the swamps. And what's interesting is there are encounters. There are a huge number of encounters that you will find throughout the game. And this is really what I think, one of the things that does elevate Shadows of Brimstone to such a great status. And just like the adventure and misadventure cards do in Secrets of the Lost Tomb, all of these encounters add really fun, interesting, non-combat encounters. You have different stat checks, and they add a ton of flavor and lore to the game. So we are going to be taking a look at those a little later, but I wanted to point them out now because there are also things called advanced encounters, and those correspond to certain map tiles. And what I do is I double sleeve my map tiles with their advanced encounter, so that way when I draw one and I look it up, and if there's an advanced encounter there, I can just look underneath to see what tile it is. Oh, and look, it's that tile right up front. What do you know? So when you encounter this tile, when you are going through this mine set, you always also encounter with it this narrative encounter. So stirring in the deep. In the dark shadows ahead of you, you see that the room opens off to one side in a large underground cavern filled with still and murky water. As you enter the room, ripples start lapping at the shoreline. Something is out there. Can you feel it? So this is a random hero has to make a luck 5+ check. And the checks, of course, my Crown Royal bag here from the Northern Harvest Rye, really good Crown Royal. So let's say you were playing the Saloon Girl. Her luck would be 3. You would take your 3d6, and then you would need a 5 up to pass that check. And of course, I failed there. But then you would look to see the consequences of passing or not passing that particular skill check. One other thing I did with the earlier sets and the expansions, I haven't done with the Forbidden Fortress stuff yet, but I need to eventually, is I did a numeric and alphabetic code I wrote on the, this is when I was playing with everything. It just helps me find the card to match. I wrote on the sleeve SM9, so that would be Swamp Mine 9, and then I could find Swamp Mine 9 easily by just looking at the number. And we would stack these in number order so you could find them quite easily. Another thing that all of the mine maps, they all have the same junctions. So these are the different rooms that you're going, the big tiles that you're going to be exploring when you're going through the mines associated with the swamp. But then there are also junctions, and those junctions are the same for all of the mine maps. And so what I do is I keep only one set of the junction cards separate, and then when we encounter a mine, I take those out and I mix them in with the room tiles. Saves a little bit of space, and it's just much easier to only deal with one set. There are duplicate tiles of some of the tiles are duplicated. So like this one, I think each set has a couple that are duplicated. So this one here is also duplicated, a little railway, minecart railway. This is a nice looking tile. I've always liked that. Kind of the stone face being unearthed. Really cool there. I'm sure something really nasty comes out of that hole. Another little minecart tracks there. An end point for the minecart. This map has a little hole in it. And then these are going to be your starting tiles. There's always one tile that you're always going to start your mission on, whether you are in the swamps or in the mines or any of the other places. And then, yeah, that's a really nice tile there as well. And so like you could look at SM5, let's see, SM5, an underground waterfall. Yeah, so then again, every time you encounter this tile, you will also encounter this card. Underground waterfall, roaring water cascades down from the chambers above, pulling before draining through the holes in the floor. Cave fungus and moss grows here, making the rocky wet floor slick under your feet. Heroes on this map tile may not escape from adjacent enemies. Also, roll a d6. On a 1, 2, or 3, the roar of the waterfall has masked the sounds of approaching enemies. An ambush attack. Draw a threat remains in play. So as you can see, the encounters add a ton of flavor to the game. And those are the kinds of things that I feel are always missing from games like Zombicide. Games that don't have that kind of narrative encounter element, they never really feel 100%. They never really satisfy me 100%. I really enjoy having these kinds of narrative encounters. Now the old map tiles, I've had these for quite a while, at least 6 years, I think, since I moved into this house. And they are holding up quite well. I was afraid they aren't super thick, but for the most part, I pull them in and out of bags a lot, and the corners are staying sharp. So they seem to be holding up quite well, and that's a nice surprise to find. I know there are a couple that have started to fray. There's one. So I should probably go ahead and take a little bit of super glue and reinforce that corner, which I am going to do after I make this video. Okay, so that was the swamp. The swamp tiles are on the other side, and then you will also have corresponding swamp map cards that will also have your advanced encounters, different things that you will always encounter when you go into the swamps. And additionally, of course, you will also have your huge stack of other random encounters that you will also encounter in the swamp. So this game just is absolutely overflowing with cool random encounters, and that is one of the main reasons why I think Shadows of Brimstone is such a great game. It did not forget that element of Warhammer Quest and those random events and the cool, neat, dangerous things that would happen to your characters. And so the mind maps for the City of Ancients target do look a little different, and then on the back side, of course, you have your City of Ancient tiles. There's your starting map tile. So very cool, but again, you're going to see that the art has been improving, and now we're going to jump into the map tiles for the Forbidden Fortress. And right away, it does come with a lot more large map tiles, which are more interesting. You have different interesting pathways and art there. So this is your Forbidden Fortress. This is where you're going to be starting all of your Eastern adventures. This is kind of the real world of the Eastern setting. Very cool. I love this tile here. I think that the lighting has kind of improved on the tiles, and they just look more, the art is just more interesting, I think. And then the other world for the Forbidden Fortress is you go into a living, breathing dungeon, which is inside the belly of a beast. And so it's all organic and nasty, and really, really cool theme. Especially when we start taking a look at some of the items you can find in this other world. They are very neat. I believe that's like a stomach. So we have the map cards for the Forbidden Fortress, and then the map cards for the belly of the beast. So again, I haven't put the numeric code on there yet. So let's see if I can find which one that is. I believe that is bubbling acid. Yeah, I'll have to look real quick. There it is, bubbling acid. So this chamber is filled with a lake of caustic green acid, churning with partially digested bits of flesh and bones. As you wade into the pool, it sizzles and burns on your legs. Any hero ending their movement on this map tile must pass an agility 4-up test or gain a bleeding marker as they are burned by the acid. When this card is first drawn, do the following. All heroes have to pass a luck 5+ check. If failed, place an acid blob on any space adjacent to you as you are ambushed by acid blobs. And then on the map tiles, it'll also tell you if it has an advanced encounter. So if you don't want to double up your cards and sleeve, you could keep these in a separate stack. And then every time you draw this tile, you could look for it. I just thought that keeping them in the same sleeve just saved a lot of time. So I do need to go and add my little codes to them to make it easier to find. Then you have, this is your Forbidden Fortress map deck there. So you will have like stairways and just all kinds of really cool thematic things that can happen. But I do really think that again, the art has been steadily improving on the map tiles, and they just look more interesting. the map tiles for the original sets are a little bland, I think. There's your starting tile for the Forbidden Fortress. Looks like you're going through its tongue or something. I hope that's that entrance. Uh, really cool there. Looks like some polyps or something. Something crashed through. Some kind of demon crashed through into that room there. That is one of the double tiles. Another one of the double tiles there. That's really cool. Like a nerve ending at some kind of like body of fluids. So really cool. And then here are your passages. So normally in all of the other sets, your passages do not have, you never have an encounter in a passage. However, when you are in the belly of the beast, you actually will have encounters in the passages. There are a whole deck of passage encounters. So really cool. It makes and again, it's a little thing, just a little deck of cards that does make the other world just feel a little more different. And so here are some of the things that you will be encountering as you are in the passages of the belly of the beast, kind of signifying that it is just a really dangerous and really gross place to be exploring. You don't want to be caught hanging out in this kind of passage. Who knows what kind of muscle you're going to be constricted by, or how the body is going to be attacking you as some kind of a foreign agent or foreign entity or something. So yeah, and then you also have these end caps, and I keep the end caps in their own bag for each. So when there are dead ends, you can attach those like that, or if that was in the if you were in the Forbidden Fortress, you would have an end cap like that. And then when you find portals to other worlds with Darkstone, or as you are exploring and you find other worlds, you will have these portal end caps that you can put on. And then whenever there are two of those, one leading from one map to another, those are considered to be adjacent for gameplay purposes. So yeah, that was a look at the map tiles. I think next up we will look at the different village options that come with each of the core sets. And then after that, we will take a look at a sampling of some of the other card decks that come with the core sets. And then we will wrap up the look at the core sets with a look at a few of the characters and enemies in detail. So all right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this continuing look at Shadows of Brimstone, this deep dive. Like I said, this is going to be a very long series. I bet it approaches man, I don't know, maybe 20 episodes or so. We'll see how it goes. So, all right, guys, well, have a good day, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.